Hi, I want to talk about the U.S. empire and how I think it will end. And I watched some of these movies, shit hits the fan movies. I was looking at a couple of them, and there's always these scenes. Is this just this lone white guy? He's running around in the woods with his survival crap, and he hits different houses or places to get food and supplies, and then he camps outside in the woods. He survives and la la la. And they all kind of follow the same kind of episode outline. Well, there's the day one. The EMP hits, and then there's all these disasters, and then everybody runs away, and but this is the scenario that's playing in the heads of many white male, and it's not what's actually happening outside of the U.S. borders. For them, the foreigners, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Iranians, the Russians, the other Asians, even Africans, there is no collapse. There is only economic enrichment because all kinds of technologies, all kinds of innovations in manufacturing are hitting the international markets. The Chinese and the Russians, they're going around the world. They're getting huge contracts to build the infrastructure. They build all these beautiful buses. They give it away to the Africans, to the Pakistanis. There is no economic collapse. There is no shit hit the fan movie over there. But there is a lot of those movies, like 90 of them on YouTube, that always portray these guys. And usually the actors, they're mostly white, and they're male. It kind of shows that this segment of population is being phased out. They were the dominant part of U.S. economy, but the money that they made was from war, from enlisting and going ruining other countries, and also over here they got the pretty job, the management, and it's ending because also many companies they have collapsed or they're collapsing, and the bosses, they're buying their own shares back and closing branches. So there is no more of those fancy jobs that they could get. So they project the future, which is very true for them, of failure, of economic downturn, and then they come up with these collapse scenarios. But even here in the United States, other segments of population like the Iranian community, the Arabs, businessmen, the Asians, they're not projecting a collapse. They actually their businesses are thriving because they know that how to wake up in the morning and put on your shoes and go to work and make money, and not to do fraudulent things, because they know they will not be treated with the gentle hand when they commit crimes. They know they have to face the music versus the white male section of the population that knows that it can get away with a lot. Uh, well, on a related note, I was reading Iranian newspapers, and Khamenei was telling the Iranian politicians, the president, the foreign minister, not to engage United States diplomatically, or not to make deals with them, not to listen to them. And in fact, none of these deals, none of these international agreements have produced anything for Iran except more sanctions, more warfare, more problems. And when you look at the broader picture, you see that the United States is a very untrustworthy and criminal organization, and the deals or agreements that it had made with many foreign countries, it has managed to violate almost every single one of those deals and agreements. And when they do back out of a country that they have gone and raped and pillaged, it always happens like you know, some with a bunch of lies, like when they left Syria, that hey, that we are making a strategic move and we are doing this and that, and they don't like to talk about the truth, that nobody wants them around, and that they are bankrupt, and they don't want to sacrifice their own lives too for the stupid wars that they had started. But when the end will come for this empire, it, it will look like it will not look like collapse in the worldwide. It will look like collapse only here and in a certain segment of their population. Their satellites they use to track shipping lanes across the world are vulnerable. The U.S. Ships, which are old pieces of junk from the 1950s and 60s, they haven't kept up with military advancement. They are floating flotillas in the world, and they are extremely vulnerable. They really cannot enforce any of these sanctions or any of these military moves. When the United States attacks other countries, it attacks countries that it knows for a fact that that place it cannot defend itself. Like it had plans to attack Venezuela, and then but the Russians came to the help of the Venezuelans, sending nuclear powered, nuclear armored two aircraft that they could wipe out Washington D.C. in a heartbeat. Well, then the Americans quietly backed out. And this is what happens. The Americans, they never admit defeat. They never, they just keep going around the world from place to place, and completely ruining those countries. In just the Middle East, they have ruined Afghanistan, they have ruined Iraq, they have ruined Libya, they have ruined Syria. And what else is happening in many countries are, they supposedly Afghani government is a friend of United States, but they are not, and they have deep economic and military cooperations with Iran. Same goes with Iraq, same goes with Yemen, same goes with many countries. I don't know if Libya is also secretly in cahoots with the Iranians. Same goes with the countries that are supposedly U.S. allies, like Germany and France. They're making side deals. Well, the collapse scenario would be if, say, for example, in Greece, if there was going to be a collapse, it would be as if the economic system was entirely rigged and was in the control of the IMF, but it's not. Many Greeks, wealthy businessmen, they're kind of doing side business with the Russian banks. So it's like two pictures. There is a collapse, but there isn't. Those people who were smart and walked out of the very bad deals, the Western backed systems bring in, they're just gonna prosper some more, become more enriched, and these all the banking systems and military agreements, they're just gonna be rotting away. As time goes on, they become expensive operations, and every once in a while, the United States comes around and removes some of them for strategic reasons. Not that we are now wanted and we are bankrupt, or no, it's all in the greater scheme of things. But also things might flare up in a warfare because the U.S. Continues to sanction, harass many countries, Chinese, Iranians, Russians, and these nations, they are not defenseless. They have many resources, and there might be retaliation. But I think that the future war or wars would be very personal. Would be it's like the Russians or Chinese or the Iranians, when they decide that hey, we're gonna just do away with the huge segment of U.S. Politicians. Well, I was reading about Benjamin Franklin, and that they had found all these corpses in his basement. So actually, when he didn't like an opponent or someone, he would invite them for tea, and then they would never leave his house. They're still there. Well, the creation of United States, or the Yankee state, is very much really the creation of Benjamin Franklin and the way he was. This state is extremely untrustworthy, and it does not respect its international agreements. It is very much prone to genocidal moves. Maybe they move against the state, they kill millions of their people, as they had done in Korea, or they would kill millions of Iraqis, Afghan, whoever, and they are whatever deal that they make or agreement they make is nothing but a fraud. Actually, World War II has ended, I don't know, 75 years ago, and they are still in Germany. And do the Germans want them around? Do they do any good for anybody? Well, I had another video. It was called "Death by Irrelevance," which means that could be a very nice death, like the death of Benjamin Franklin, when he became irrelevant. And he's irrelevant today, except in the notes that he has managed to publish. But I think that his ghost wants to make amends, but it's too late. What he created has tormented the world and will not go away. Well, what happens also is that outside of the U.S. borders, the capitalism moves on. The capitalism is not going to stop. The companies are not going to stop innovating, creating robots, creating great communication systems like 5G. Countries are not going to stop making buses and fast trains and try to make them as cheap as they can and cooperate with each other. And many countries, they don't find it necessary to go on ventures. What else is happening is that I was reading the newspaper about Serbia. well, this was unrelated to Serbia. It was more like the Russians were saying, "Hey, we're gonna be testing our S-400 in Serbia." Well, I thought, hey, wasn't Serbia, wasn't it occupied, or didn't the Americans go there and destroy the Yugoslavian government? Wasn't Serbia supposed to be a Western Bloc country? I guess not. If they're in cahoot with the Russians, they're letting them test their most advanced anti-aircraft systems there. So what kind of Western Bloc country is that? Or is Germany a Western Bloc country? Uh, you could answer this question a couple of ways. I mean, the answer I don't think is yes. I think the answer is no. In all essence, they are not part of the Western Front. But things might simmer down as in a death by irrelevance, or it could also flare up like a EMP attack, or like a mass contract killings that will end an empire or kill the many Benjamin Franklins we got around. Well, I think that there is very few things that the U.S. government or U.S. businesses manufacture that the world would not be able to live without. Well, China, Russia, many places manufacture airplanes. They manufacture drones. They manufacture weapons, robots. Many places in Eastern Europe or Russia, or they have much more friendly, professional population that can, if you want to do business, you can do that. There is no stringent requirement. These things, this warfare and empire building, it damages American businesses. It damages trust in that's really necessary in bilateral relations or economic relations. And I think in the future, many countries that that want to do business with U.S., they would be looking for parties in the United States that are not really tied with these guys. For example, I saw many foreign individuals or businessmen that they are interested in hiring like blacks or hiring Spanish Chicanos because they are not part of this oppressive Anglo culture of destroying foreigners, destroying their businesses, or ruining them. Really, they're looking for some element in their system that they could come in, make real friendship, and either sell or buy or trade or make factories. This political establishment, this that comes with the intelligence services and military services that they have, it has become very toxic. And really what I think is that this place is evolving into a kind of North Korea 10 years ago. It's going to become a failed state with very regimented form of capitalism, or a form of really fascism that has very strict rules of operating here and interaction between people. What's also interesting is that forms of fascism and despotism that used to exist in the United States, like racist southern states, or Same here in California or New England, they're gonna resurge because their federal government itself is very toxic and untrustworthy and kind of filters down into these states, and they're gonna be committing crimes against the sections of their own population. Well, I want to tell you about a bit of history I have had. Well, me and my ex, we used to fist fight. Our marriage was ending. Anyhow, in one of the fist fights, I got arrested and I had to go through court. I tried to fight it, and then I lost. They suggested I should appeal, which I didn't. I should have, but anyhow, I had served 60 days. So then, on the day that I was supposed to be released, then I got arrested again, but this time by the immigration services. USCIS was back then was called INS. Anyhow, I had to do another 60 days in detention, which I fought that one too, and then the whole case with my domestic violence, it collapsed because the courts vacated their decision. So the decision that the immigration services had made based on a court case, it also collapsed, which at later time, it collapsed entirely in the case law because the attorneys learned how to go vacate all decisions and then come back and vacate the USCIS decisions. But I learned that what the USCIS or INS did was also very immoral and unconstitutional because they came in and they fabricated the case out of nothing that was really there. It was kind of unconstitutional and it was based on prejudice that exists in their own system of taking sides with the U.S. Citizens, taking sides with the whites. It had reflected into their procedures and into their crap. But this can happen in other areas, in when you're Iranian business doing business with white, then when there is a conflict, then the courts or the different parts of U.S. government, which themselves are very untrustworthy, and they violate their own agreements, then they come in and take sides with a certain part of the population. But actually, this is the same thing in legal terms that happened in the United States. That's with racism, that the federal government or the state governments, they were taking sides with this certain sections of the population, saying that, hey, you are the beautiful, desired personalities, or these other guys, they are just foreigners, they are unwanted. At some point, we're gonna ship them out, or they don't belong. It just shows the breakdown of the system of federal laws and rules. And also, this system has broken down in America's relationship with many foreign countries, and also this process of sanctioning and pursuing foreign businesses, try to destroy them, it really is going to reflect back and destroy what harmony exists between people here. Because once the government learns, or the people, they learn that this behavior can do this, then they're going to do it here too. Well, actually, when the World War II ended, the British, they wanted to get rid of the colonies. because some British politicians were saying that when our military or when our political infrastructure goes and destroys foreign countries, destroys their economy, destroys their military, destroys, and we are in so many places. Okay, these people that we employ and use, and they go and do all this stuff, they learn these things, and then they come back here, they become the establishment, they become the intelligence services. Then they will be overthrowing our government, or they will destroy our democracy. Well, I was watching this morning all the efforts that certain politicians are making to get rid of Trump. Then, well, I don't even give a crap about Trump, but just the whole process of what they are doing is similar to a coup, which is a certain segment of the establishment has decided, hey, we want to get rid of this guy. Well, this is exactly the same legal wrangling and process that the immigration services used against me, or the different parts of the state government will use against different parts of its own population, against the Mexicans, against the Chicanos, against the Arab nationals. It shows a collapse, but then it's not an economic collapse. It is a collapse in the legal and moral systems that are falling apart. So this society will become like a feudal society, which is, there is like camps here, there is camps over there. I don't mean this camp in the sense of a certain locality. I mean there will be groups of people tied together here, groups over there. They're following a different legal and system of thinking or doing things. Well, some of my stuff is kind of complicated. You need a little greater understanding, but there is one last thing is very interesting. I was studying serial killers. There is a lot of literature out there, and the way most serial killers, they say there's an affluent, rich, older serial killer, the way they get caught or they get prosecuted is there is two ways. One is that when they were younger, they had made a lot of mistakes. They weren't as experienced as when they were older, and they find some little DNA or somebody that recognized them when they were younger, and versus when they are older, and these mistakes of the past comes to haunt them, and they get caught. Another way is like from deep remorse that killed all these people, and they confess themselves, they turn themselves in. So, but with the Benjamin Franklin, I think that he died, and then in the spirit world, you discover a lot of stuff that went on, and then there is remorse because you need to move on into the higher realms, and you can't. Well, when I was younger, I found it very strange that I'm getting visits by these ghosts. I finally figured out hey, this is Benjamin Franklin, because I started reading all these books about Benjamin Franklin autobiography, and he had multiple personalities. One was like a statesman, and the other one was the serial killer on the side. So But I think what he was trying to influence the material world to, because he discovered remorse, that he could now move on. And what the state that we have, the Yankee state, is a criminal state and very much reflects personality of Benjamin Franklin. And I don't know how the end will come in for this state. It could be something that it has done, like committed genocides in Korea or Vietnam, and one of these parties, remember, it's like an old victim that he made a lot of mistakes with, remembers him and comes and privately murders him. Something like that. Well, thank you for putting up with me my rant. Please subscribe and leave a comment if you dare.